right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, very excited to be talking to an individual ahead of quite the intriguing fight here. It goes down at 1X. It is a custom rules showcase where alternating between Muay Thai rules and MMA rules, we have Demetrious Johnson at Rodtang Jitmuangnon getting out there into the one circle. Key part of the AMC Pancration lineage now, and it seems like that's been building well. I mean, like Matt Hume, like yourself, James Yang getting out there. Like, how cool is it when you're looking at it through that generational, I guess, permutation kind of sense? Like, does that excite you? What do you think about that?
I love it. I'm excited for James. We've been training together for a very, very long time. I think it's the right time for him to make his pro debut. I think he would have made it a lot sooner if he wasn't injured, but the time is now. He's ready to go out there, put on a great show. He's feeling good, looking good, already on weight. Now we're just waiting for fight time, man.
Yeah, and I was kind of curious, like, had he been to, like, prior fights of yours, too? Like, was there any kind of learning curve with, like, I guess maybe bringing him in his younger years to some of these different events, like maybe get him accustomed to, fight week, just, like, general atmosphere to prepare for the future? Was there any kind of dynamics like that in the past?
Oh, yeah. He's been to most of my one championship fights and some of my UFC fights as well. And the biggest thing with fight week is the same thing every single day. It's just, now it was different back in the day because you can go and travel and see the places you're visiting. So when I fly to Manila, we didn't go out in Manila, but when we came to Singapore last time, we went around and visited the city. When I fly to Japan, we went everywhere in Japan. Now it's kind of boring. You're stuck in a hotel room the whole time. You just sit and wait till you fight. So, but it is what it is. It's 2021. COVID's still whooping everybody's ass. So we got to sit in the room and just chill and wait till fight time. So it kind of makes, before you'd be excited to go travel and see the world, but now you don't get a chance to see the world. That kind of gets taken away from you.
Yeah, just shuffling between different rooms, pretty much.
You hit it right on the nail. Right on the nail.
Yeah, but curious, I mean, because like you're talking about being stuck in the hotel, that you kind of made the joke where you're like, oh yeah, I was stuck in a Singapore hotel thinking some crazy things. Like, you got to a point where initially you had politely declined the Rodtang offer for like a more of a pure kickboxing outing from that, SCMP MMA article circa June there. So like, when did things start changing there? Like, when did certain pivots start kind of leading towards this like hybrid sort of bout? Because like I said, the idea of like, say, a straight ahead kickboxing match didn't seem to be there as much. I mean, straight ahead MMA, Rodtang would be at an enormous disadvantage. So like, when did things start kind of trending towards this hybrid bout?
Well, the fight was never offered. They never offered me a kickboxing fight or a Muay Thai fight in the past against Rodtang. That was me being in a hotel room just saying, I want to do kickboxing. He goes, I'll fight you. I was like, I'm good, dog.
Yeah.
So that was like a never official offer. But when they offered this to me, it was dope. And when they first offered it was the first Muay Thai fight for the World Championship. And I said, I'm not going to take that fight because I'm not a world-class Muay Thai fighter. I don't care to be a world champion in Muay Thai. And I feel if I were to take the fight, I would be disrespecting the belt. There's guys who've done Muay Thai their whole entire life that would love to have this opportunity to do it. I'll still fight Rodtang, and we do Muay Thai, big gloves, whatever. Then they came back with this hybrid fight. I was like, sounds good. It's in the contract. So that's kind of how it all unfolded.
Yeah, it's interesting because even when I talked to you like April, a bit before the one on TNT one fight there, you were saying you'd had no interest in Muay Thai and little gloves. Was there any kind of shift that had taken place in that perception, or like, what are your thoughts on that there?
No, it's just, the biggest thing with Muay Thai and the little gloves, it's a lot of damage on your body. And I've broken my hands before in mixed martial arts, so I know it's pretty brutal. And yeah, I mean, I think really when I was at home and after the fight, I was like, yeah, let's do it. So times change, people change, so it was the right opportunity to take it, and I decided to do it.
Yeah, just kind of fun from my perspective as like a fan and media member, because it seemed like there was some level of banter about it, and then maybe you're like, oh, maybe not the Rodtang fight, and then I kind of thought it faded into the ether a little bit. So when the announcement popped up, I was quite excited, especially the dynamics associated with it. It very reminiscent of some of the fights back in the day, like where Sakuraba would fight Crow Cop and different stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the A5. Tokop destroyed him, too. Oh, God, I forgot about that. Well, the good thing is that I'm way better on their feet than Sakuraba ever was, so that should be a problem. But, yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes and the media doesn't really know. And like I said, with this one, when this came about, it was literally they offered it to me, and I was like, yeah, let's make it happen. I literally told you everything how the fight came to be. Like, when it came to special role fights, like, it was not me who did it. This is all one championship. I just agreed to it, and I'm going to show up and put on a great fight and a good show, I think a lot of people probably sit there and scratch their head like, damn, how'd they come up with this? Did DJ negotiate this round, and, this and this? No, it was none of that. It was literally, hey, the Muay Thai thing first. I said, I want to be respectful, and I'll still fight him, but not for the belt. I don't need the belt. I don't care for the belt. Let the guys who spent their whole career wanted to be a world champion Muay Thai, let them get that opportunity. Me and Rodtang will still fight. Then the other fight, the mixed world fight came about, and here we are now.
Yeah, I guess I only thought to bring up that particular example there just because you seem like you're quite a big fan of like the, Japanese mixed martial arts history. Like even when we were, talking about your Grand Prix championship victory, you were talking about how just entrenched you were in the Japanese MMA scene, how important, the Grand Prix were to all of that there. So yeah, just maybe even through that lens, a cool fight.
Yeah, I mean, growing up watching Japanese mixed martial arts, I dream. Always been a big fan of it, and my buddy teammate Bibiano Fernandes, he's fought in the Dream Grand Prix. He's got a sick ass belt from it.
Oh yeah.
The World Grand Prix belts have always been my favorite. Even when I was a UFC champion, I've always wanted one of those belts because they're just so thick and meaty, and they're just beautiful, and they're very rare. The only way you get them is if you go to the only way you're gonna get one is if you go to that tournament. So that was also another thing that was very unique about it. Really stoked my interest. So when I got the opportunity to do my own World Grand Prix, and once they showed me the belt, I was like, oh, I ain't losing this fucking thing. I'm not losing this Grand Prix. I need that belt. that's why literally he showed me. Like when Matt showed me the belt, he goes, this is the Grand Prix belt. I was like, oh, I ain't fucking losing. I was like, I'm getting that shit.
Yeah, you got a dope shirt out of it too. Ryu Yamamoto seemed to hook you up pretty good there.
Yeah, that was a beautiful shirt he did.
I was just curious because I was actually talking to Chatri like a little bit ago there prior to when the announcement took place, and he was kind of teasing like Pride style matchmaking. I was like, what do you got going on? Are you gonna have like DJ fight Elaine and Galani or something? But this kind of turned out pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so. I think everybody's loving it. I'm loving it. It's getting a lot of buzz, and that's what I think Chachi wanted to do for 1X. It's a big show, 10-year anniversary, so why not? He knows Rodtang's gonna come fight. I'm gonna come fight, and it's gonna be a sick fight. I think everybody's gonna enjoy it.
And obviously, like a well-entrenched, training history with Bibiano Fernandes, him making his return to the one circle. Like, is there a cool component to like being on this card with him as much as it's your own individual bout? It's intriguing in an isolated fashion. Like, is it cool to be on the card with a returning Bibiano just based on the history you guys have?
1,000%. Me and Bibiano, we fought on cards together before. The 1 Century, we fought together. And I've seen him fight live when he was fighting Kevin Bellingham in Singapore. So this would be Bibiano's first time fighting during, COVID, where he can't leave the room. He's got to sit there and chill and just be in his own zone, which would be totally fine. He's a man of spirituality, and the jungle is always with him. So he'll be fine. But, yeah, I always love sharing the cage with sharing the spot with Bibiano.
Yeah, and when I was talking to him, he was telling me he's still in Brazil and whatnot. Do you think there's going to be any opportunity to get in work with Bibiano prior to this 1X card, or maybe just because of the rampant travel issues with the global pandemic, maybe not an easy thing to facilitate, unfortunately?
I don't think it would be an easy thing to facilitate. I thought about that too, and last thing, when we sit there and talk, I don't want him to come down to Washington and get stuck down here if the border shuts off, then he can't get his family. And I don't want to go up to Canada and potentially get shut down again, because you never know the way this virus works, right? Like if I was to go up to Canada and get shut off from my teammates, my training partner, and likewise, he was to get shut off from his thing, then it would just be a whole shit show. I'll be flying out in Canada, all that stuff. So I haven't never really thought too far into it. And when it comes to my training camp, I try to let my coach deal with all that stuff to see who's going to be the best fit to get me ready for Rodtang. And there's not a whole lot of people out there who can imitate Rodtang the best. But even for Bibiano, like for him getting ready for John Lineker, he's going to need, the best person who has a granite chin and is just going to throw bombs. So, but you know what? I'm there in spirit. I know he's there in spirit. I'll be there in spirit for him. And at the end of the day, we just got to be healthy. We just got to be healthy through the whole training camp and go out there and compete. Because my fight's, different from his.
Yeah, for sure. Different variables. And yeah, I mean, you got to try to err on the side of caution. A bit of a still crazy landscape, all things considered. But I wanted to touch on a picture I saw a few weeks back that I thought was cool. I saw you getting in work at Extreme Couture with Misha Tate and Jake Shields. Can you kind of talk about the work you were able to, get with those two and just the broader work at Extreme Couture?
Yeah, I loved it, man. That was the first time I actually left while I was on vacation visiting my dad. He was in Vegas, and I was able to go get some work in with a different gym with different bodies. And that's the one thing I'll say, right now, the current state of AMC, there's not a lot of bodies that want to fight. Right? Like you go there and it's literally, you got bodies from every range, every organization in there, different styles, which is kind of nice because you could kind of just get some different working with different people and seeing Jake Shields and Misha Tate there and Francis was there. It was good work. I was hoping when I went there that Brandon was there. Yeah, Brandon was there, or maybe the Adrian Stearns. I know they both kind of cross-trained when they're out there, just to get some work with those guys. At AMC, there's not a lot of guys who are pro athletes and who fight in mixed martial arts. It's just me and James as of right now, and our gym isn't kind of based around I don't want to call our gym isn't geared towards pumping out athletes to fight in the global stage. If that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe just more of a lifestyle-minded kind of thing for people who aren't looking to actively compete. Is that sort of what you're saying in that regard?
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. It's more of a lifestyle. They're not looking to compete. They're just there to have a good time, and they're learning, and they're training. But when you go to Extreme Couture, it's no, everybody's there. They're there for one purpose, and that's to get better and fight and help everybody else get better. So there's a different level of training there where every guy you're going with, or this guy I'm going with, he's a double NCAA wrestling champion. This guy, he just had his pro debut and he got a knockout. This guy, he's in the UFC. So the guys you're going with they're all athletes. So they're all good.
Yeah, and something I was kind of curious about too, just because this is an intriguing bout coming up here, and when we were talking around the one on TNT kind of time there, you were indicating some level of interest in maybe even some submission grappling potentially. I mentioned Jake Shields there. He took part in that, high rollers submission grappling event there. Pretty unique in its own regard. Any chance you'd want to do something like that high rollers jiu-jitsu kind of thing they've been doing?
Yeah, potentially, but I literally had probably at the end of my career, or maybe not. When you do the jiu-jitsu things, those guys are nasty. They're looking to tear fucking ACLs and MCLs and stuff. I don't want somebody tearing my ACL because after I'm done fighting, I still want to ride dirt bikes and potentially race.
Oh, so that's something you'd be looking to pivot towards competitively? Because I was seeing a lot of the dirt biking on the Instagram. Seems like a real family activity there.
My goal is to race after I'm done fighting. I'm gonna race when I'm done fighting. That's for sure. I don't care if I'm coming first or last place, but I'm going to ride. My goal right now is I put my dirt bike up for this fight. There's part of me I miss it already. I miss riding my dirt bike, but my goal is after I'm done, fighting. I want to race, and my goal is I'm going to train 3 years on my dirt bike, taking classes, learning how to jump, learning how to be safe on my dirt bike, and then once I'm done with my contract and I'm officially retired from fighting, I'm gonna race.
I love that. When did that first you start getting on your radar? I imagine this is something you've probably been passionate about for a meaningful enough period, but just to the scale of wanting to, I guess, pivot towards it competitively, because that would seem like another level.
I think it got on my radar just for being around the community and seeing, athletes in that sport just race for fun and that are privateers. Like a lot of the guys who, ride the AMA motocross, they're some of the fastest guys in the world, but it's not like you have to have a contract and all that stuff. You could be a privateer where you pretty much pay for all your own gear, you show up, you race, and have a good time. So for me, I feel like it'll just be fun to do, and it'll just give me experience. That way, if my son Tyron, he wants to race, well, he has raced before, it gives me more experience to be able to guide him to be successful. So, and it's just fun. Like, when I see guys ride motocross, I'm just blown away from how much skill it takes to ride a dirt bike at that high speed in the jumps and the corners and all that stuff.
Must be cool to have like that shared interest with your kids and seeing them take to it, because they seem like they're adapting pretty well.
Yeah, my oldest son, he reminds me of me when I first started doing mixed martial arts, like how much passion he has in it and how much work he's willing to put into learning and put in the seat time. Like, I see that in him, and I want to harness that and see, where he goes with it, while still being a good kid in school and being a good, respectful child. I see it. So, and it's given him falling in love with dirt biking. It's given me a new passion to care about, because I watch way more dirt biking videos than do mixed martial arts videos. Like, I really don't watch any fighting videos. I'm always on YouTube watching, like, how to do this with the bike. See this and all this and this. I'm totally intrigued by it.
No, that's awesome. I mean, you got to have like some sort of, outlet outside of mixed martial arts, especially considering how much time you've allocated towards it at such a high level. So you got to have the different interests for sure.
1,000%. You're the first person to say that.
I was gonna say, do you have any other like secret interests that maybe we're not seeing on the Instagram there? Like, is there a certain skill that you have that is kind of pulled in the back? I mean, I guess the video editing has been kind of coming around there. Like, I saw you had the drone videos and, had the Dance Gavin dance in the background, like Death of the Robot with human hair.
God bless your soul, my friend. That's hard to sing. I did pre-order the iPhone 13, so I'm going to try to keep on working on my video editing. The hardest thing is that all these programs are so hard to work. It's not like a simple plug and play and all that stuff, like Final Cut Pro and all that stuff. It's super, super hard. It's not user-friendly. It just takes a lot of time to do it, and I just don't have the time to do it. Like, that's why I like my drone. I was watching Tyron ride, and I just literally just followed him and just put that video together. It took me like maybe an hour to do that, where, it's a hobby. It's a passion of mine to, document my children's life and their passion. That way when they get older, I can show them, like, hey, like, this was you, I did this, I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, I was always there for you when you're doing stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like, sort of like a, digital scrapbook kind of dynamic, as it were. Like, I love that sort of perception of it. But something I wanted to bring up to you to kind of get your thoughts on was the fact that anecdotally I'd had some buddies during that One on TNT series who were seeing the promotion for the first time and just how much they dug it, because like some of my friends, well, I mean, most of my friends, to be fair, like they didn't necessarily check out like the Pride days while it was still going on. It was more of like a look back on it later, and they were saying how much they enjoyed watching the One product, because it's like, oh, it kind of gives me a vibe of like what it would have been like back then, like seeing this like huge show out in Asia and just the presentation style. So to that point, like, how does it feel to be part of certain things like that, just like rekindling that certain sense and making people, I guess, feel like they're integrated into that kind of scene, even though they weren't there during the heyday of like Rampage Jackson and Vanderlei and all those guys?
Oh, it's awesome. It's always good to try to like let the fans feel that old school reminiscing. And those were the glory days of Japanese mixed martial arts, where you had those random fights, Krokop versus Vanderlei Silva, the Royal Grand Prix. That stuff, I grew up watching that stuff, and I love every bit of it.
Yeah, no, it's cool that kind of like part of that lineage and stuff like that now, just like new promotion, showing off the skills and whatnot. But I did mention Dance Gavin Dance a bit earlier. Usually when I have fighters on, I'm keen to, I guess, gauge what music they might enjoy training to. Like some fighters are kind of like, it's sort of inconsequential. Whoever grabs the aux cord, it's kind of fine. Like, are there certain genres or artists that you're putting on over at AMC Pancration, or kind of just whatever, you're rolling with it?
Well, it depends who's there.
Yeah, fair.
Because if Matt's there, then I don't play all the stuff I usually listen to. But if he's not there, I'll put on Dance Gavin Dance. I'll put on Don Tolliver. I'll put on other stuff. Matt likes his old funk music, like 80s funk, Rick James, Michael Jackson, just old school stuff. Which I'm not opposed to it, but I just that wasn't my time era. My era was like 90s and 2000. New school stuff where everything they say is F this, N-word this, this. So Matt don't want to hear that. So it all depends who's there at the gym.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Have you ever played Roxy Roller, I Need a Holiday at AMC Pancration?
I never even heard of that song, so that'll be a no.
I was going to say, I thought I saw that on your Instagram there. Like, there was a post where you were saying spent some time with Pops last week, found out he used to perform back in the day. Like, it was like a few weeks back there. There was like a Roxy Roller, I Need a Holiday picture after that. I thought he was tied into that, but perhaps I misconstrued something.
No, he was, but I still haven't heard
it. That's awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, I pretty much covered all the territory there. Thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Much appreciated. And yeah, really looking forward to this fight here. And yeah, just, you enjoy the rest of your day. And yeah, thanks so much.
Will do, bud. Thank you.
All right, on this episode of Bouts Talking Bouts, happy to be speaking with an individual who has quite the intriguing fight coming up. It's taking place at 1X. It is a hybrid rules contest. We're mixing it up with the Muay Thai and mixed martial arts when Rodtang, Jitmuangnon, and Demetrious Johnson get out there to test skills. And very happy to be speaking to Rodtang right now. How's Rodtang's day going so far?
ก็อันนี้เป็นการสัมภาษณ์ก่อนการแข่งขัน 1X ที่รถถังจะแข่งในกติกาผสมกับDemetrious Johnson นะในรูปแบบกติกามวยไทยและ MMA ทีนี้เขาถามว่าตอนนี้เป็นยังไงบ้าง
อันนี้ความรู้สึกหรือว่าร่างกายหรือว่าอะไรครับ
ทั้งหมดเลย
ความรู้สึกตอนนี้ก็ถือว่าเป็นความท้าทายอีกรูปแบบหนึ่งครับที่อยากจะลองเนี่ยแล้วก็ได้เจอกับคนเก่งๆเลยก็ถือว่าประมาทไม่ได้ก็ถือว่าต้องทำกันบ้านอย่างหนักครับในการโชว์ที่5 ธันวานี้เพราะว่าเราถึงแม้เราจะได้เปรียบมวยไทยจริงแต่ถ้าเราเอาเขาไม่น็อกไม่นับอันเนี้ยไม่ล่วงก่อนเราในยก2มาเราเจอในรูปแบบ MMA เนี่ยเราคิดยากเหมือนกันเพราะเราไม่เคยผ่านการชก MMA มาก่อนและซ้อมก็นานๆซ้อมครั้งอะไรเนี่ยครับไม่เคยคือเป็นสมวยไทยส่วนมากพอได้มาวันที่5ได้มาเจอกับนักชก MMA ที่เก่งแบบเบอร์ต้นๆเนี่ยเราก็ต้องรับมือให้ได้ในวันนั้นนะครับเราต้องคิดว่าก็ถือว่าลำบากครับลำบากสำหรับชกกับดีเจ
It's kind of my new challenge to get a chance to compete with the DJ in the mixed rules. And DJ is not just like same as anyone else. He is a legend, and I need to compete with the legend. And to answer the question, I know myself that I need to do a lot of homework. I might get a lot of advantage on Muay Thai round, but however, whenever it's go to MMA round, I don't know how it's going to be, and then so that's why it's not going to be an easy fight for me to compete in MMA with him.
And I'm kind of curious because I've seen on and off video clips throughout the years of, Rodtang training in different forms of submission grappling, people getting excited about the idea of him possibly competing in a mixed martial arts sort of context. Like, how long has he been, I guess, trying to navigate this kind of move? Because it seems like a move to some form of mixed martial arts competition has been something of a focus for quite a while now.
ก็เขามองว่าหลังจากในช่วงปีกว่าๆที่ผ่านมาเนี่ยก็ยังเห็นถังโพสต์อยู่บ้างในการมีแบบ grappling มี BJJ อะไรประมาณนี้ที่ได้ซ้อมอยู่อะไรอย่างเงี้ย คิดว่าตรงเนี้ยคือเราได้ฝึกซ้อมมานานขนาดไหนแล้วก็คิดว่าในอนาคตจะเป็นยังไงบ้าง
สำหรับตอนนี้ฝึกซ้อมมานานไหมครับมันก็พอมีวิชาในเบื้องต้นครับถึงแต่ถ้าให้เทียบแบบว่าเป็นเลยไหมมันก็ยังไม่เชิงเป็นครับเพราะว่าส่วนมากผมจะเน้นแต่มวยไทยเพราะการซ้อมของผมมันก็จะมีมวยไทยอย่างว่างก็จะมีไป MMA บ้างเนี่ยเพราะตอนแรกยังไม่คิดว่าจะได้ชก MMA เร็วขนาดนี้ว่าเดี๋ยวรอยังน่าจะได้คิกบ็อกซิ่งหรือรอคิกบ็อกซิ่งหรือมวยไทยอยู่เนี้ยยังไม่ถึงขั้นที่จะไป MMA อะไรเนี้ยแต่พอมามีรายการวันที่5นี้ก็คือแบบก็ถือว่าตกใจเหมือนกันก็เลยต้องรีบทำการซ้อมอย่างหนักนะครับต้องเทรนอย่างเร่งด่วนอะไรเนี้ยครับ
For me, for the video clip that I was training BJJ or like mixed martial arts, for me it was just a basic. I know how to do, but it was just let's say like I am only a basic skill, because like since then until now my main focus is only Muay Thai that I keep training regularly. And then I was thinking previously I was thinking after Muay Thai maybe I go for a kickboxing champion belt before MMA. I didn't know that I will get this chance so quick that to turn to compete in MMA before like a kickboxing rule. So it's kind of like very exciting to me.
Well, I mean, to that point, I'm kind of curious. Obviously, very focused on, a high-profile fight here, but just entertaining what could happen thereafter. Would the goal more to be like going in the direction of vying for a kickboxing championship, or would the, I guess, deeper dive into MMA be the priority thereafter?
After you mean after 1X?
Yep.
ก็หลังจากแข่ง 1X ในวันที่5ธันวาคมไปแล้วเนี่ยถังคิดว่าอนาคตของถังเนี่ยเป้าหมายเนี่ยอยากจะแข่งไปในทาง MMA หรือมองไปkickboxing ไปในชิงเข็มขัดอีกสักไฟล์นึงอะไรก่อน
แน่นอนครับคือถ้าเสร็จสิ้นจากไฟล์วันที่5แล้วมันออกมาดีอย่างเนี้ยก็จะเน้น MMA แล้วล่ะครับก็คือว่ามันอยู่ที่วันที่5เนี่ยครับว่าจะรูปแบบมันจะเป็นยังไงแต่ใจผมเนี่ยตั้งใจที่จะเรียนฝึก MMA แล้วก็ต่อสู้ MMA แน่นอนอยู่แล้วครับ
Actually, I was aiming to compete in MMA one day in the future anyway, and then but I cannot say anything right now. I think we will need to see the fight result, how the fight result is go. If the result turn out good, I might like confidence to compete in MMA after that.
Yeah, for sure. And kind of just we're talking before about just the level of respect for a guy like Demetrious Johnson. I'm kind of wondering, like, does Rodtang have like a favorite Demetrious Johnson moment or anything like that? Because this seems like a very respect-minded kind of martial arts showcase here.
เขามองว่าทางดีเจเนี่ยก็เป็นนักกีฬาที่น่าชื่นชมและรถถังก็น่าจะชื่นชมเขาเองอยู่ไม่น้อยเนี่ยรถถังรู้สึกยังไงบ้างแล้วก็มีอะไรในตัวของดีเจหรือว่ามีแบบสกิลอะไรที่เรามองว่าเฮ้ยเขาเราเคารพเขานะเราชื่นชมเขานะในส่วนนั้น
ๆสำหรับในกีฬาต่อสู้ผมเคารพทุกคนครับที่เป็นรุ่นพี่ที่เป็นอายุเยอะกว่าคือผมก็เคารพทุกคนถึงแม้อายุจะไม่เยอะกว่าถึงอายุเท่ากันผมเคารพทุกคนในการต่อสู้แต่ในวันต่อสู้เราก็ออกทุกอย่างใส่กันทุกอย่างคือพี่น้องคือไว้ข้างล่างแต่ในวันชกจริงก็คือผมจะทำให้เต็มที่จบสิ้นคือกีฬาการต่อสู้มันคือไม่ใช่ว่ากีฬาที่อันตรายมันเป็นกีฬาที่รู้แพ้รู้ชนะรู้อภัยรู้มิตรภาพมันเป็นกีฬาลูกผู้ชายที่แบบเป็นพี่น้องกันเราไม่จำเป็นต้องแค้นยันไม่ชอบเขาหรืออะไรผมเคารพทุกคนครับใครที่เป็นนักมวยผมเคารพผมให้เกียรติทุกคนอย่างนี้ดีกว่าครับก็คือว่ายิ่งเขาเป็นรุ่นพี่เขาก็คือเป็นต้นแบบที่ดีในการชก MMA นะครับก็คือก็หวังว่าอยากจะเป็นเหมือนเขาเหมือนกันในรูปแบบ MMA ในความไวของเขาในสไตล์การชกของเขาที่เขามีไหวพริบไวคือเร็วมากเนี่ยผมก็อยากเป็นเหมือนเขานะครับคือผมให้เกียรติทุกคนอยู่แล้วครับผม
I would say actually I respect and then I respect to all of the legends athletes, not just a DJ. But however, like if I want to compete in MMA, I would like say like I want I I have him like my role model to be in this kind of sport. Like for example, in the future, like I want to be like him. I want to have his speed. I want to have like his fight style. So like he's kind of like one of the legend role model for my career.
And I'm curious because it's already been mentioned that there's been the competitive efforts within, Muay Thai and kickboxing. I'm kind of wondering for Rodtang's style. I mean, obviously the glove sizes differ and some kind of changes in the rule set, obviously. But like, what are the biggest, I guess, stylistic shifts that he has in his own approach between kickboxing, say, as compared to competing in Muay Thai?
ก็คือเขามองว่าเนี่ยรถถังเนี่ยด้วยความที่มีโอกาสในการแข่งขันหลายอย่างในกีฬาการต่อสู้ทั้งคิกบ็อกซิ่งทั้งมวยไทยหรือแม้กระทั่งขนาดของนวมที่มันแตกต่างกันอะไรที่มันทำให้รู้สึกว่าเฮ้ยมันแตกต่างกันระหว่างคิกบ็อกซิ่งกับมวยไทยยังไงบ้างหรือกฎกติกาหรืออะไรหรือว่าเราคิดว่าเราทำได้หมดเลย
มันก็สิ่งที่แตกต่างก็คือเห็นได้ชัดก็คือนวมแล้วก็กติกามันจะแตกต่างกันในรูปแบบในการชกแต่ละอย่างมวยไทยอย่างคิกบ็อกซิ่งอย่างมันก็ต้องศึกษาและเรียนรู้ให้มากในที่เราจะได้ขึ้นชกในไฟไหนไฟนั้นจะเป็นไฟคิกบ็อกซิ่งหรือว่าไฟมวยไทยมันก็จะแตกต่างสำหรับผมเองก็มันก็ถือว่าโอเคทุกรูปแบบแต่ผมก็ติดตรงที่คิกบ็อกซิ่งผมต้องไปฝึกฝนอีกพอสมควรกันเพราะว่าการให้คะแนนมันไม่เหมือนมวยไทยยิ่งเราเปิดหน้ารับเดี๋ยวจุดบกพร่องผมก็ยังมีในคิกบ็อกซิ่งในมวยไทยเราอาจจะผิดพลาดน้อยแน่นอนอะไรเงี้ยเพราะเราพื้นฐานมาแล้วแต่ว่าถ้าชกสองอย่างนี้ก็คือแบบมันโอเคหมดทุกอย่างแต่ผมแค่ต้องไปฝึกทักษะในความเคลื่อนไหวแบบสเต็ปเท้าอะไรเนี้ยหลากหลายคือแบบเอาเบสิกสากลเข้ามาเสริมอะไรเนี้ยครับผม
to compare between kickboxing and Muay Thai, like there are some similar and then there are some differentiate. For me, what I see, the differentiate between these two sports, it was rules and a glove, of course. But however, like I am okay for any competition, either Muay Thai or kickboxing. But however, I was born with Muay Thai, so I have more knowledge and more skill in Muay Thai because that's my life, that is my main career. And then, but however, in kickboxing, I still see that myself have some weaknesses on kickboxing, like for example, like a footstep and then rules that I am not like quite understand comparing to Muay Thai. But however, if one day I need to compete in kickboxing, I will need to study more harder than Muay Thai.
Yeah, and it seemed like the goal was to continue with the, kickboxing even in the, next outing there. It seemed like the desire was to get a kickboxing clash going at one first strike. Obviously, the positive COVID-19 test getting in the way of that. I'm kind of wondering, moreover, how is, Rodtang presently feeling? And then also just, I guess, like the feelings of, getting removed from the card and if there was any, I guess, frustrations not being able to continually carving out a lane in the kickboxing space.
ของจริงๆแล้วอ่ะคือในอีเวนต์วันที่15เนี่ยถังต้องแข่งคิกบ็อกซิ่งถูกไหมแต่ทีเนี้ยเนื่องจากว่าถังเป็นโควิดแล้วถังมีความรู้สึกยังไงบ้างที่เราไม่ได้แข่งเราแบบเราเครียดเรากดดันเราเหนื่อยเราเสียใจอะไรยังไงบ้างไหมในการที่ไม่ได้แข่งเนี่ยตรงเนี้ย
ไม่นะไม่ถือว่าถามว่าจะเสียใจไหมก็ถือว่าเสียใจครับตรงที่ว่าเราไม่ได้ชกเราต้องเรารอไฟชกมาเนี่ยพอทางวันขึ้นมาให้แล้วเรากับเป็นโควิดซะก่อนแล้วไม่ได้ชกก็คือเสียใจแล้วเราตั้งเป้าไว้จะชกวันนี้แล้วก็5 ธันวาเนี่ยคือว่าเดี๋ยวก็ชกเสร็จก็จะไปกลับไปพักผ่อนในบ้านกับครอบครัวเนี่ยถ้าเกิดไม่ได้ชกไฟนึงก็ยังมีวันที่5ก็ถือว่าไม่เป็นไรครับก็ถือว่าเป็นเคราะห์ดวงซวยของผมไปในเดือนที่เป็นโควิดแล้วก็ยกเลิกการต่อสู้ไปแล้วก็ยังมีวันที่5ผมก็จะรัดกุมตัวเองมากขึ้นแล้วก็จะตั้งใจฝึกซ้อมเพราะมันเป็นความท้าทายที่ยิ่งใหญ่อีกครั้งหนึ่งของผมในวันที่5นี้ครับนอกจากชิงแชมป์เป็นแชมป์มาแล้วก็คือมีไฟนี้และที่สำคัญมากอีกไฟนึงครับ
Well, of course, I a little bit upset that I know that I affected COVID. Because I was prepared for this 15 October first strike. But however, during this time, I will just need to raise myself and then get even more ready to compete with DJ on 1X. And to compare the fight on 1X, it's quite one of the biggest fights in my life as well, same as to defend my belt, the same as to compete in champion belt. It's kind of very, very important to me.
And I'm curious because, one championship allowing for a lot of unique, I guess, striking opportunities in the global rule set, and obviously the, stand-up acumen well regarded in a lot of ways. What kind of, I guess, training methodology has there been for, I guess, integrating the knees to a grounded opponent and certain things like that? Because obviously the striking very much there in a stand-up kind of context, but what training, I guess, amendments have been done to, I guess, transfer that striking ability to a situation on the ground?
ก็ทีนี้เนี่ยเขาสงสัยแล้วเขาอยากถามว่าการที่แบบเหมือนยืนมวยเนี่ยการแบบ striking ของถังเนี่ยในการที่เรามีความรู้มีความสามารถด้านมวยไทยแล้วเนี่ยมันช่วยยังไงในการแข่งขัน MMA ในกราวในด้านแบบการชกพื้นภาคพื้นบ้าง
มันก็ถามว่าจุดได้เปรียบของการที่มีพื้นฐานของมวยไทยอยู่แล้วมันก็ถือว่าได้เปรียบครับทุกกีฬามวยถ้าเราเป็นในเรื่องมวยไทยมาแล้วเนี่ยมันก็มาปรับเปลี่ยนในรูปแบบนิดๆน้อยๆมันก็ถือว่าเป็นแล้ววงนอกนะก่อนที่เขาจะมาเทคดาวเราหรือก่อนที่เขาจะมารวบเราทำเราท่านอนเราอะไรเงี้ยเขาต้องยืนวงนอกกับเราก่อนแล้วจุดคือได้เปรียบของเราแล้วอยู่ที่เราว่าจะออกอาวุธยังไงให้เข้าเป้าให้คู่ต่อสู้โดนเรามากที่สุดก่อนที่เขาจะเข้าถึงตัวเราครับแล้วก็หลักเหลี่ยมเราก็ถือว่าเรามีถึงแม้เราไม่เก่งในการเทคดาวแต่เราเวลาเขาเข้ามาเราอยู่ติดตัวนั้นเราก็ใช้เหลี่ยมมวยไทยได้อะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับแต่ถามว่าต้องแก้ไขตรงไหนบ้างก็คือต้องจุดหนึ่งก็คือเราต้องไปฝึกในท่านอนเยอะๆการแก้เหลี่ยมนอนหรือการแก้ท่าในแต่ละรูปแบบเราต้องเอาตัวรอดในตรงนั้นได้อย่างไรนะครับก็ต้องไปมันก็ถือว่าไม่ยากเท่าไหร่ครับก็เดี๋ยวก็น่าจะใช้เวลาพอสมควรก็ต้องฝึกฝนในตรงนี้มากๆครับผม
For me, striking it's kind of give me a lot of advantage to the fight, to transit to ground game. For example, striking can help me stay in the long range before my opponent just come to take me down, and then but what I would need to do is just what I see. One of the weaknesses is just to defense, because this is I will need to just practice more, because I know what I have, striking is my advantage, but so now I need to learn how to defend. Whenever that if my opponent bring me onto the ground game, so I need to know how to defend them.
And just speaking to the, wealth of Muay Thai experience, I mean, over 300 bouts, 270 plus victories, just a really incredible resume. So to that point, I'm wondering about just getting to, I guess, compete on some of these big shows, like one on TNT, one, for instance. I mean, that was a big showcase for the American audience, North American audience as a whole, really. So how cool is it to be able to, showcase not only the individual skill set, but also really wave the flag for Muay Thai to an audience largely taking it in for the first time.
อันนี้พูดถึงเขามองเห็นว่าถังเนี่ยเป็นนักมวยที่มีประสบการณ์มากกว่า200ถึง300ไฟท์ที่ชนะมาทั้งหมดที่เคยแข่งขันมาทีนี้เนี่ยคือก่อนหน้านี้เข้าใจว่าถังเนี่ยก็แข่งอยู่ในแค่ประเทศไทยหรือว่าในเฉพาะประเทศแบบกลุ่มนึงอะไรอย่างเงี้ยคนอาจจะรู้จักแค่ในไทยอะไรเงี้ยแต่ณวันนึงที่ถังได้มีโอกาสมาแข่งขันในวัน TNT ซึ่งเป็นอีเวนท์ที่ถ่ายทอดสดไปยังอเมริกาฉะนั้นฐานแฟนคลับหรือฐานคนดูเนี่ยมันกว้างออกไประดับโลกอย่างเงี้ยถังมีความรู้สึกไงบ้างที่ได้มาแข่งขันในไฟท์การ์ดที่ถือว่ายิ่งใหญ่ในประวัติศาสตร์ในครั้งนั้น
ก็อย่างที่บอกไปครับตั้งแต่ ต้นต้นสัมภาษณ์นะครับก็ถึงบอกไว้ว่าไฟที่จริงแชมป์ว่ามันเป็นไฟสำคัญแล้วแต่ไฟเนี้ยมันสำคัญมากอีกไฟหนึ่งที่ผมจะต้องพิสูจน์ตัวผมเองด้วยแล้วก็กับคนทั่วโลกได้รู้ในกีฬามวยไทยอยากให้เขารักมวยไทยด้วยในวันนั้นมันก็จะเป็นผสมผสานกันแล้วผมอยากจะพิสูจน์ตัวผมเองว่าผมก็ชกในรูปแบบ MMA ได้คิกบ็อกซิ่งได้มวยไทยก็ได้เนี่ยครับอยากเป็นตัวแทนของนักชกไทยให้ทุกคนได้มาเรียนรู้แล้วก็ได้มารู้จักมวยมากขึ้นครับมันคือเป็นไฟต์สำคัญมากและรู้สึกเป็นเกียรติมากที่ทางคุณจาตรีได้ให้เกียรติผมให้เกียรติเลือกผมในไปชกในวันนั้นด้วยนะครับถึงแม้ผมจะไม่ได้ชกกับดีเจหรือว่าอะไรขอแค่คุณจาตรีได้เลือกผมไปชกในรายการใหญ่ระดับโลกแบบนี้ก็ถือว่าเป็นบุญของผมนะครับ
อันนี้เขาถามเพิ่มก็คือว่าไฟวัน TNT ที่ชกไปเมื่อเดือนเมษายนปีนี้เป็นยังไงบ้างที่ชกในกติกามวยไทย
ก็ที่ผ่านมาก็ถือว่าทุกไฟเลยใช่ไหมไฟที่ผ่านมา
ไฟที่ชนะ TNT ที่ชกแล้วก็ไปถ่ายทอดที่อเมริกา
ไฟที่ชนะไอ้นั่นเนี่ยไฟที่ชนะแตกกันนะ
ใช่
ใช่ก็รู้สึกดีใจครับรู้สึกดีใจที่ได้โชว์ศิลปะแม่ไม้มวยไทยของเราให้กับคนอเมริกาแล้วคนทั่วโลกได้รับชมแล้วก็ได้รักมวยไทยมากขึ้นก็ตั้งแต่หลังจากไฟนั้นก็อเมริกาก็ได้มา follow IG ผมมากขึ้นได้มาทักมามากขึ้นเป็นแฟนคลับเพิ่มขึ้นเลยเนี่ยก็ถือว่ารู้สึกดีใจมากอะไรอีกครั้งหนึ่งอะไรเนี่ยครับผม
I feel glad and honored to compete in that one TNT card. After that fight, like it's kind of like I'm bringing Muay Thai to the world. It's not just limited to Thailand audience, but it's to people around the world, for example, and especially in America. Which is like I never think about that. And after I compete in that fight, one funny things, I have a lot of followers from US on my Instagram. And on top of that, additionally, talk about like 1x in the upcoming fight with DJ. I can prove myself to the world as well. It's not just only Muay Thai that I can compete. Because I have been done a fight in kickboxing and then about to do in MMA as well. So it's kind of like to bring my name, bring Thailand to the world.
Yeah, it's really an amazing martial art and everything like that, and what a great representative to showcase that there and everything like that. But some great fights had all throughout the career, and one of the bouts I thought was interesting was the Tenshin Nasukawa contest, and that seems to be one that you'd very much like a rematch with there, thinking that you very much got the decision in that first fight there. Is that something that you would like to see under the one banner? Would you maybe like to see One and Ryzen collaborate at all? Is that really like a rematch you would just really love to have in the future at some point?
คำถามข้อนี้เขาถามถึงระหว่างการแข่งขันระหว่างรถถังกับเทนชินนะคะอันดับแรกคืออยากถามว่าถังคิดอยากจะรีแมตช์กับเทนชินไหมถ้าเกิดอยากจะรีแมตช์อยากแข่งในอยากแข่งในสังกัดไหนคืออยากให้เทนชินเข้ามาแข่งในวันแชมเปี้ยนชิพหรืออยากมองเห็นแบบการร่วมมือกันระหว่างวันแชมเปี้ยนชิพและไรซิน
ก็อันดับแรกก็คือถามว่าอยากแก้มือก็อยากแก้มือตั้งแต่เริ่มที่แพ้แล้วครับหลังจากแพ้มาก็คืออยากแก้มืออยากรีแมตช์เนื่องจากพอมาชกกันหลังในชินปั๊บก็ทางวันได้มาเซ็นสัญญากับผมอะไรเนี้ยผมก็ได้เข้ามาอยู่สังกัดวันแชมเปี้ยนชิพแล้วก็มันก็เลยได้ชกกันยากขึ้นอะไรเนี้ยแต่ถ้าถามว่าอยากแก้มือแบบในตอนนี้ไหมก็อยากแก้มือมากครับอยู่ที่ว่าผู้ใหญ่ทางคุณจาตรีกับในการไลฟ์เขาที่ดูแลผู้จัดการของเทนชินเขาจะคุยกันยังไงแต่หวังลึกๆก็อยากให้มาต่อยในวันแชมเปี้ยนชิพหรืออยากให้ผสมผสานกันตรงที่ว่าคือจัดแมตช์ชนแมตช์ก็คือว่าวันแชมเปี้ยนชิพชนไลท์อะไรเนี้ยของเจแปนญี่ปุ่นเลยเนี่ยก็มันเป็นอีกรูปแบบมันก็อยู่ที่ผู้ใหญ่ก็จะคุยกันอย่างที่อยู่ที่คุณจะถามว่าอยากรีแมตช์ในรูปแบบกติกาไหนก็ได้สำหรับเทนชินผมสู้ทุกกติกาแต่ขอได้รีแมตช์
Yes, that is the something that I always dreams of. Like after I lost tension in that fight, it was just like before I signed with One Championship, and then since that day that I know that I lost, I really want to rematch in the day after. This is something that I am awaiting to happen, and then I'm not sure in the future how can I going to rematch with him, like because now I am the One Championship athlete. I really hope that one day Tenshin can come and join One Championship and then just to rematch with me in under One Championship. Or maybe it depends on One Championship. If we have a chance to talk to Rising and then can be like a One Championship X Rising, I also okay. Just only want to rematch with him.
Yeah, that would be a hugely compelling rematch. I mean, the initial fight was great, but just what you guys have been able to shore up in the skills even since then. But speaking to the point of skill set, I'm kind of wondering about this 1X fight against Demetrious Johnson. Is there a particular technique you're looking to really showcase to people? Are you really looking to, shake up people's notions of your martial arts skill set in a certain regard? Like, is there a certain, I guess, technique or performance you really want to showcase out there to kind of shock people, as it were?
ตอนนี้เขาอยากถามถึงไฟท์ 1X ที่จะแข่งขันกับ Demetrious Johnson นะหรือ DJ อะไรเงี้ยอยากถามว่าในใจถังเนี่ยคิดว่าเฮ้ยอยากจะเรียนรู้หรืออยากจะแสดงเทคนิคอะไรใหม่ๆเพื่อที่จะช็อกคนดูบ้างหรือเปล่าตอนนี้มีแพลนที่จะทำอะไรบ้างไหม
ตอนนี้ยังคิดอะไรไม่ออกครับแต่ก็บอกลึกๆว่าจะถึงแม้จะมาถ้าเขาผ่านยกหนึ่งในรูปแบบมวยไทยไม่ได้ผมก็จะสู้ในรูปแบบ MMA ให้เต็มที่ที่สุดครับผมก็ตอนนี้ก็ยังให้คำตอบอะไรไม่ได้ก็ต้องอยู่ที่บนเวทีแล้วก็การฟิตซ้อมของผมด้วยในเวลาที่เหลืออยู่
I cannot say anything right now. Actually, it depends on that day. It depends on how the fight will go. If the first round is Muay Thai and if he can pass the first round, so that means I need to compete in mixed martial arts. And then what I know is I will just try my best for that fight, that round with him.
And to the point of there being the breakdown of like the Muay Thai round, the MMA round, that sort of thing, was there anything in the business negotiations where you wanted to have the Muay Thai round first or the MMA round second? Was there anything like that or not so much? It seems like the contract negotiations were pretty casual from all accounts from what I've heard, but was there any kind of like positioning to want to have it like the Muay Thai and MMA round as opposed to, the inverse MMA and then Muay Thai?
ก็อยากถามรถถังว่ารถถังรู้สึกไงบ้างกับการแข่งขันในครั้งนี้ที่เป็นกติกาแบบผสมกับมวยไทย MMA มวยไทย MMA คือหรือว่าจริงๆแล้วมันก็เป็นสิ่งที่ผู้ใหญ่แค่แจ้งมาให้ทราบเฉยๆเราก็แข่งขันไปตามคอนแทรคที่เขาว่าอะไรเงี้ยแล้วก็ในอนาคตเนี่ยอยากจะแข่งลักษณะแบบนี้หรือเปล่า2คำถามนะ
ก็คือรู้สึกยังไงครับก็รู้สึกตกใจก่อนครับรู้สึกตกใจที่คุณยาตีเสนอรายการแบบกติกาแบบนี้มาแล้วก็เลยยังงงประมาณอาทิตย์นึงช็อกประมาณอาทิตย์นึงแล้วเฮ้ยแล้วก็เราไม่ได้เจอแบบว่าผู้ชกแบบธรรมดาพื้นๆเหมือนที่ใหม่ๆเหมือนเราแต่เราชกกับระดับเบอร์1ของ MMA เลยนะครับและเป็นการแบบชกสลับกันยกต่อยกเนี่ยครับในกติกา4ยกมันถือว่าแปลกใหม่ในแปลกใหม่ที่สุดในตั้งแต่ทำอาชีพมวยมาเลยชกอาชีพมวยมาเลยครับก็ถือว่าเป็นความท้าทายอีกรูปแบบนึงที่แบบเฮ้ยเราต้องทำให้ได้โอกาสนี้เรามาแล้วอะไรแบบรู้สึกตกใจมากครับที่คุณยาตีเขารายการนี้มาเนี่ย
แล้วคิดอยากจะมีอะไรแบบการชกแบบผสมในอนาคตอีกไหมถ้าเกิดมีเกิดขึ้นจะยังไง
ในอนาคตก็อยากลองเป็นช็อตสเต็ปช็อตดีกว่าไม่เอาเหมือนเดิมก็ได้แต่รายการนี้มันอาจจะเป็นรายการที่ใหญ่แบบครบรอบ10 ปีของวันก็แบบเหมือนรอดูผู้แปลกใหม่แล้วแปลกที่สุดก็คือมวยไทยผสมผสานกับ MMA มวยไทย MMA สลับกันแล้วก็อนาคตอยากจะลอง MMA ดูแบบเนี้ยเริ่มทีละสเต็ปว่า MMA หรือมวยไทยโยกอย่างนี้ดีกว่าครับถ้าเรามาในไฟต์เดียวกันมวยไทยว่ามันจะปวดหัวครับ
like back to the first day that I know like I got an approach on this challenge, and I was shocked. Let's say I was shocked for a week. Like I feel like it's weird. How can it be happen? But somehow I accept the fight because like it challenged my skill set as well. And then I know that it's one championship want to create something new because it's 10 years anniversary. So that's why I accept the fight. And I was thinking about in the future, like if this kind of mixed rule it happen, I don't know if I'm really want to go for it, but I want to prefer, like for example, like in the future after 1X fight, I probably interested to fight in MMA, but it's supposed to be like a whole MMA in 3 rounds, or Muay Thai defense my belt in 5 rounds, something like that would be more like more proper for me.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I definitely can understand all the variables there that were outlined, but Rodtang's been very good with his time, and I want to be mindful of what I imagine is a pretty busy schedule there. So is there anything he might want to add as a parting thought as we're kind of wrapping things up here?
ก็มีอะไรอยากจะพูดให้กับแฟนๆไหม
ก็อยากฝากแฟนๆมวยทุกท่านนะแฟนๆวันแชมเปี้ยนชิพแล้วก็หรือแฟนๆทุกคนนะครับอยากให้มาชมกันเยอะๆในวันที่5 ธันวาสำหรับคู่ผมกับดีเจมันเป็นคู่ที่แปลกใหม่มากๆแล้วก็เป็นครั้งแรกที่ผมได้ลอง MMA แล้วก็ชกแบบสลับกัน4 ยกก็คือต้องมีการน็อกเกิดขึ้นถึงจะชนะอยากให้ทุกคนพลาดไม่ได้คืออยากให้ทุกคนมาดูกันเยอะๆดูเปิดแอปวันหรือว่าทาง YouTube แอปของวันนะครับดูกันเยอะๆมากๆครับก็ฝากเป็นกำลังใจให้กีฬามวยด้วยแล้วก็ฝากให้เป็นกำลังใจกับคู่ของผมด้วยก็ผมว่าทั้งแปลกแล้วก็สนุกแล้วก็มีโหดแล้วก็มีมันมีฮาตามสไตล์ของผมแน่นอนอยากให้ทุกคนไม่พลาดเลยทีเดียวครับผม
I would like to say something to one championship fan and all of my friends around the world. I would like to invite all of you guys to watch my fight between me and DJ. This is going to be excited, of course, and then this is the first time that I try an MMA fight, and I am sure it's going to be exciting, it's going to be fun, and I will bring the entertainment to all of you guys. It's not just me, and also I would like you guys to support DJ as well. Our bout is going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think that's an understatement. 1X, an amazing hybrid rules fight between Rodtang, Jitmuangnon, and Demetrious Johnson. Thanks again for the time and the insights there, Rodtang. Best of luck with the remainder of the preparations, and yeah, really looking forward to the fight. You have a good rest of your day.
ก็ขอบคุณมากที่ให้เกียรติมาสัมภาษณ์ในวันนี้ก็พักผ่อนให้ดีเนาะแล้วก็เตรียมตัวสำหรับไฟในอนาคต
Okay, thank you so much.